Good morning, everyone out there in YouTube land. My name is Jared, and this is my channel, Mazda B3K. This is going to be a 5-minute fix video on how to swap out the air filter in a 2016 Ford Transit Connect. Without further ado, let's get started. If you have watched my my battery removal video, you have already seen this process that we're about to do, because you had to do it to get the battery out. But if you haven't, this is how we get to the air filter. Your air filter is under here. So we got a couple of things we need to do. We got some sensors to remove, other things. This is your mass airflow sensor. We need to disconnect the electrical. Pull the red tab first, push down, wiggle, off it comes. This is some kind of an air breather. Push the, kind of bluish connector there, pull it out, done. Spin it around a little bit. Uh-oh, no tripod, no! Stay. There we go, better. Alright, there is a breather line back here. This one's a little bit tricky to remove, so what I do is just move the camera to where it actually can be useful. Next is it's another breather line, and it's a little bit tricky to get back on. So what I try to do is just actually wiggle out the plastic bit that goes into the hose itself, and then we're ready to actually loosen the worm clamp that holds this hose onto the throttle body and the rest of the intake, and then we can pop it out of the way, and then we can pop this out of the way. Alright, this clamp is either a 7mm or it's a flat blade, so we just loosen it up. And once it's loose, now that everything's disconnected, we can just pop it up out of the way like that. And then there are, I'm going to bring it airborne here. There are two clips, metal clips, on either side of that tube down here. Pop them loose. There's one, and there's the other. Let's pop it loose, and then let me set you back down. Does this work? That sort of works. So then you're gonna lift up and then pull towards the passenger side of the car. And you've got the top of the air box out of the way, and now we have access to the filter. The reason why I'm changing out this filter is not necessarily because it looks dirty. It's because I skinned the seal on this filter. So I'm going to replace it. That way we won't have stuff bypassing the filter and potentially getting into the combustion chambers and scoring up cylinder walls and doing other not nice things. So let me go get the new one. Alright, today's filter is a Wix. It is a WA10095. And putting in your new filter, pretty straightforward. It goes with the pleats, which is the folded paper here facing down. Slip it in, just like that. And you have it. Now the trick here is when you put your air box back in, make sure you seat it appropriately. If this isn't seated right, it's going to take a chunk off the filter. So that was what the problem was right there. I didn't have it fully seated. Hopefully we'll be good. I'm going to move you guys back to tripod position. We're going to put this all back together. Alright, as we go to put things together, you'll notice we got 3 tabs here. Those slide into, you can see them from here, these slots. So when you put it back in, you have to get that lined up first. and there's going to be things in the way, so you just kind of have to work around that. Get that slotted, and then you push down. And then those metal clips you remember from earlier, you want to go ahead, put those back on. And they may fight you a bit because of this tube going to the throttle body. So you may have to get that seated. And I seem to remember this was happening to me last time. The clips didn't want to go. So I pushed down a little bit on this hose to get the play I needed. Get the clip seated. And then we can just start putting things back together. So put your MAF sensor back on. Push in that little red clip. Put this breather back on until you hear it click. This other breather, just kind of wiggle it back in until you hit the stops. There's two plastic tabs, you'll see them. And they act as stops to keep this plastic tube from going any further into the hose that it sits in here on the throttle body, on the air intake to the throttle body. And then the last thing we need to do is tighten up our clamp again. And once that's tight, we check our work. So our breather is in, our other breather line is in. Again, a little tricky to see, but that's our clamp screw, that's tight. Our PCV, not PCV, our MAF is back in, and the secondary retainer's locked in. We didn't mess with this clamp any. Our two clamps on the filter housing itself. Get that out of the way so you can see. Or not. Yep, there we go. It's a little tricky to see. Right there. That's back in, and that's it. You're done. This is a successful repair. Alright guys, that's going to do it for this 5-minute fix video of replacing the air filter on my wife's 2016 Ford Transit Connect. So, if you got a comment, leave a comment. I read them, I respond to them, and I learn from them. Please also like, share, subscribe, do all the other fun YouTube stuff. And remember, I make the mistakes so you don't have to. I'll see you guys next episode.